Hello, welcome to the BLC Club, Biblical Languages and Cultures Club, here at Oakwood University. Here we want to talk about our cultures aspect, because it's not only biblical languages, but it's biblical languages and cultures. Because as you learn a language, it would make sense to also learn the culture. If you speak English, but you don't understand American culture, or if you find yourself in the UK. So it's very important to understand the culture. If you learn French, you speak French, but it would make sense to understand the French culture. So when you look at the biblical culture, the Hebraic, the Jewish culture, and when you look at the Greco-Roman culture, the Hellenistic culture, it's very important. So we try to give you a complete package here at the BLC. So here we have this great resources by Dr. David A. De Silva called Honor, Patronage, Kinship, and Purity, Unlocking New Testament Culture. Very great resources by a great New Testament scholar. Highly recommended. So you could understand the cultural context of the Greek New Testament. And let me read a quick excerpt real quick. My words were taken out of context. We frequently hear some prominent individuals saying these words to object that a journalist has misrepresented his or her speech. And we'll go down here. The potential for misunderstanding increases exponentially if the listener is communicating with someone from another culture, with different customs and even a different language. So here, it's a great resource, and it talks about the different cultures. And it doesn't just deal with one. It's not either or. It's not just Jewish or Greco-Roman environments, but it's both and. It's both and. So this is a great resource. Another great resource is this book called Misreading Scriptures with Western Eyes, Removing Cultural Blinders to Better Understand the Bible. Very great resources that you need to get and read. We don't just have these resources, but we actually read them and study them. Very good resources that you need to look into. And we have this other book called Biblical Words and Their Meanings, an Introduction to Lexical Semantics by Dr. Silver. So that's another great resources that we have here. Another resource that we have available is by Dr. Mburu called African Hermeneutics, and she's a scholar from Kenya, and which this is a recent book that she published. Another book that we have available is by a Jewish man who became an Adventist, and the title is Practical Lessons. Very important book because it talks about the experience of Israel and how it relates to the church today. And it's by F.C. Gilbert. Very good resource. And there's a lot of passages in the Bible, in the New Testament as well, when it comes to the rabbis or the Talmud, and he explains the different customs that we take for granted, and it makes the Bible come to life. So it's a very good resource. Very, very good resource. So these are the books that we have available for the cultural aspect of the BLC Club. And remember, the mission of the BLC Club is to develop a lifelong love of learning, reading, and mastering biblical languages for the glory of God and the edification of the church. And another goal is we want to understand the syntax and the cultural context of the Bible. So we don't want to just study the language by itself, but also the culture in which it was written and spoken. So it's a very important resource. And these are just some of the few resources that we have available in terms of culture. And so thank you for watching, and stay tuned to the BLC Club, Biblical Languages and Cultures.